Holiday greetings. Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart, rip them out of their wrapping and their stockings, to find out what makes them Christmas magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and Balthazar.
Alex Dandina.
Before today's just wonderful celebratory Christmas episode, a little business. It's official. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. The best way to support the show, the best way to turn the show into a gift for yourself or others. So this entire month, we've been stuffing our Patreon patrons' stockings. So our entire month this month, our entire lineup has been curated by picks selected by our patrons. So we work really hard over there to give the patrons what they want. We got exclusive episodes, miniseries, commentaries. You can even pick double features, all kinds of stuff. And we always are trying really hard to listen to the patrons about how to make that better. So if you could be so kind, if you have a little Christmas cheer, a little extra coin in your pocket, and you want to support what we're doing over here, the best way to do that, Film Alchemist Pod, patreon.com/Film Alchemist Pod. Sorry, I'm still hungover from 2 days ago, so my brain is not firing properly. Like a dad who does not think ahead for Christmas.
He's not a pervert. He just wants a Turbo Man doll.
Yeah, he's not a pervert. He's just fucking shitty dad and husband. That's all. He's not a pervert, though.
Pervert. Just a shitty parent.
Abuses reindeer. That's it. Just not a pervert. That's the line he draws.
I'm a pervert. I'm just a
here's something
person.
a pervert would not do. Subscribe to the YouTube Film Alchemist, right? If you don't do that, questions. The email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on. Go to misfitparade.net. You can check out our little Christmas horror movie. You might even see a bulbous murder Santa that sounds familiar. Wink. If you want to go check that out, misfitparade.net. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the stuff. Go find us over there. Also, make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews. All right. 'Tis the season. Christmas time. Every year we like to do a special Christmas episode.
Indeed.
This year we chose Arnold's Jingle All the Way. An Arnold and Sinbad vehicle. Jingle All the Way. A movie that weirdly has become like so overwatched in the Griffey household because my kids fucking love this movie. I've never been like, I was like, is that a shot at me? Is this some kind of mind games they're playing? Right? They're afraid that I will be the dad who doesn't get the Turbo Man doll. I don't know why my kids watch this movie a lot every year. Like they watch this movie in July occasionally. So it just felt right. Jingle All the Way was the movie that we should watch this year because the Griffey boys have become so obsessed with it.
Sure.
Arnold branching out into a more comedic era of his career.
Yep.
The wonderful Phil Hartman just
Entire
crushing every scene he's in.
By Phil Hartman.
Yeah, Sinbad kind of doing a lot to mixed results. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
The Sinbad just constantly screaming. And it's weird because I like Sinbad. I really liked Sinbad. I used to love his stand-up when I was a kid. I had a real Sinbad phase. I don't know that this is my favorite Sinbad, but we'll talk about it. Alex, opening thoughts on just the Christmas masterpiece that is Jingle All the Way.
It's weird. I think Christmas movies it's interesting for like what the holiday is supposed to be about. And then granted, like we have become a very strange culture in that like we celebrate just the most bizarre films surrounding this holiday. Not only like Hallmark movies, like that ilk of strange, hey, look at all this love you can find on Christmas.
Yeah. Divorced, lonely CEO lady meets an ostrich farmer with rustic good looks that she dated in middle school.
I'm almost positive that's an actual plot.
It will be. It will be.
Beyond that, though, the other side of this is there's so many films about Christmas that have so little value of like, it's a lot about like the commercialization of Christmas. I'm like, we're all going to a movie about Christmas and the commercialization of Christmas. I'm like, the people who are garbage are literally the people who are sitting in the seats. So you're just like quietly blaming the people who are watching this movie. Like Jingle All the Way fits in this category mostly. Mm-hmm. There's just a slew of other movies like that.
It is an entire sub-Christmas genre of Christmas movies that hate Christmas and they hate us for having ruined Christmas, right? Krampus starts this. There's a ton of them. And it's funny because as I get older, I want more and more of like the Christmas magic, I feel like.
I think so too.
And so this movie's like, I get it. Christmas fucking sucks, right? Like, I also hate buying shit for people that they don't want or need. Like, I get it.
I do too. I think that for me, it's this one particularly. I watched it as many times as anyone else, and I have a lot of the thing. Like, I have a lot of the weirder things quoted in my head. Like, there's stuff that like no one remembers from this movie that I like have stuck in my craw just because it's such a weird way to say something. Like, you know, I'm not a pervert, I just want to tell mental. Like, that one is pretty popular. But there's just like, and again, there are things about the movie that are, you know, classic, kind of just like comedy setups. Phil Hartman is just unbelievable. Like, Phil Hartman does so much work in this movie to make it palatable. But like, there are so many odd and, like, in my opinion, like, not great things that, like, okay, this is always like the example I give of why this movie, like, for me is just such a kind of a, in a way, it's entertaining to watch, sure, but in a way, it's like kind of a bummer movie. Is when, you know, young Anakin Skywalker is talking to his little friend about Phil Hartman. He's like, yeah, my dad never used to do stuff like this, and then they got divorced. Hey, maybe your parents can get divorced and your dad can be cool. It's
then
like,
he realized that being a good father was the fucking key that opened so many pussies, and he's like, yeah. I'm gonna do better.
I was like, wait a second. So it was just like it became like that's such an awkward.
Well, let's just start here, right? Like this,
thing, but
I think you could say objectively, this movie's not like a great movie. Like here's just something to think about the next time you watch it. Just think of the time frame of this movie. Like, that dude gets up, his family's already up, so it's not like 4 a.m.
No.
He's got to make a parade, which I'm guessing is going to be probably at the latest like 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
This dude's going all over the fucking city, blowing people up, accosting police officers, grabbing children like a pervert. He's in a fucking evil Santa warehouse. He's running on foot. He has to wait on a fucking wrecker to bring his car home. Like,
so what is it?
The time frame of this movie is impossible.
What time? I thought about this yesterday too when I was watching it. So what time do you think he wakes? Like, this movie starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, then, right?
Doesn't matter. But that's what I'm saying. This movie immediately is telling us nothing in this movie matters. Just sit back and enjoy it. The other thing that is so bizarre about Jingle All the Way as you get older is you're like, this is a movie that is refusing to learn any of the lessons they say need to be taught by the end of the movie.
Exactly.
Because at the end, Arnold being a huge piece of shit father, because that's just what he is. So let's lay this out.
Terrible parent.
Arnold is a guy who's so interested in selling mattresses. Like, I thought he was like a big time like honcho CEO guy.
Too. I
He's
thought it was
selling
like a thing.
Mattresses. Like, he could be talking to like the Motel Cactus off of fucking Route 6 or whatever. And he's like, oh, your fucking mattresses are all cum soaked? I've got a deal for you. Like, that's all he does.
Oh, you can crack
like,
that mattress in half on your knee? Let me help you.
Yeah. Also, no one cares if a kid's getting a yellow belt in karate. So I'll give him a pass on that. It's the other stuff that is terrible. But no one gives a shit about mattress guy. Like, that's not a job that you have to be like, you can't fucking go to your kid's karate and come back and not spend time with them later.
It's not like high-powered executive work.
Right. What he also does is he just constantly refuses to hear either of them, apparently. He doesn't get the turbo mandal when he was supposed to. The other thing is that Phil Hartman makes reference to it multiple times about how he can't bench press his way out of every problem. So if you're looking like Arnold, that's at least another 20 hours of the week that you are doing you time and not hanging out with the kids.
Right?
That's just you time. The movie is making this subtle argument that perhaps that time is a Faustian bargain, and he beats the brakes off his wife so bad that she's okay with it. He can be a shitty husband and not get divorced and not be lured by
sure.
Phil Hartman because she's getting Conan the Destroyer.
You're saying that they're just beating cheeks so hard that she's like totally
Yeah,
cool with it.
I think that's what the movie wants us. She's like, well, I'm married to a high power mattress man who fucking is all juiced up and is just pumping loads constantly.
Right.
That's why I suffer him being such a shitty husband. Imagine a day on Christmas Eve where you tried to pull this shit like, hey, I'm just going to be gone for 12 hours.
Right.
On Christmas Eve? Nothing.
Well, see,
there's no fucking way we could get away with it.
This is the thing I really value about Jingle All the Way is when you watch it, you really like, of all the evil and terrible things that maybe Amazon and many delivery services have offered, this movie really proves the benefits of them. Like, it is.
Is it ironic that I watch this on Amazon? Yes. Yes, it is. Because Amazon wants us to remember the days of Furby and Teddy Ruxpin and those fucking Beanie Babies. The nightmare. I remember going once to Black Friday as a child, and I felt like Merry and Pippin when the trees assault Saruman's tower in Lord of the Rings. I was just like, this fucking sucks. Like, why do people live like this? And it's become kind of sport now. They call it, what do they call it? Poverty porn, where it's like people love to just watch people who are broke going out to try to buy things they need as sport, like beating each other to death. It's a sad and pathetic thing that we've set up as a country.
You know, I only did one. I've only ever done one. Like, we did I think the fourth or fifth Harry Potter book came out. I went with my cousins to like a bookstore at the midnight release, and I'm like, nope, never again.
I did a couple for video games, but I've done one Black Friday. It makes you sad, and it makes you fucking bitter about what we've turned ourselves into.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, the people who really need it are getting elbowed out of the way by just fucking Karens. Now it's a whole thing of people are like, we'll buy them and resell them.
Yeah.
I am at my base nature cynical. But with kids around Christmas time at the end of the year, I want to be a little more magically enthused. And this movie's only magical thinking is, that Arnold's just a guy who never sees his family, is jacked, and his wife doesn't seem to really give him any punishments.
No.
So I think maybe they have a safe word. It's like, booster, that's his safe word, right? Booster. And that maybe this is just their vibe, right? And that's it. Because the movie's asking us some wild leaps of logic. Like, here's the thing. Like, why does Ted just get to come into their house all the time? Ted just walks into their fucking house. And you're telling me Arnold's never put the fucking smackdown on this guy? He's not worried he can't smell the other neighbor ladies on him?
Okay.
You know why? Because the movie's telling us that Arnold is not in any danger of losing out.
Right. It's just, I think leaps of logic. That is the fascinating thing of this entire film. Because the other problem, too, is the film also unintentionally highlights the horrifying racial divide in the Minneapolis area.
Yeah, did that dawn on you that the fucking hardworking blue collar African American is made to be the monster of the movie, surrounded by chunky Minnesotan whites?
Yeah, you're like,
and a fucking super jacked Arnold. And it's like, well, he came from a white country. So that's
I haven't watched this one in a while, and this time I was like, ooh, this has
There's the one scene that is fucking horrifying,
optics.
where they show him that Sinbad has to drink on the job, right?
Yeah.
And then Arnold looks over at him and sees his son as the working class drunk minority mailman, and is like, this cannot happen, and immediately gets back into fighting Sinbad. And it's like, I can't have my kid being like a fucking minority alcoholic man.
Not only that, like, it gets to the end. We'll get to the ending, but again, the ending I think is the worst part, where you're just like, oh god, like.
But this gets to like horrifying. A bigger, broader question of this movie, which is, as you're watching it, you're like, who is this movie for? Besides the Griffey children, for some reason. Who to them it's just about a dad who's like really wants to buy his kid shit. I think that's how they watch this movie.
Is it just about?
But you're like, so Arnold is like a really rich white guy, who when he meets poor white guys, he's like gross. Right. When he meets working class black guys, he's like gross. He's just kind of like a shitbag to everything, right?
I got to be honest. Like, is he really that rich?
He was willing to pay $1,000 for a Turbo Man doll.
Well, I mean, if you're desperate like that, I guess you'd.
He's got his cashmere. He's got his little slippers. He's got his fucking environment-killing SUV. Like, I think he was 90s rich.
90s rich? Okay, I'll give you that.
He has his own secretary. He has a big office at his party.
At his mattress store.
Did you see his son's bedroom?
Yeah,
his son had like full fucking art, amazing murals of superheroes. In the 90s, we didn't have stick-ups or whatever they're called now.
Right.
That shit had to be like painted on. He hired a muralist to paint fucking superheroes all over his kid's room that's bigger than my bedroom and fucking loaded with every cool thing under the sun.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not McAllister's rich, but
no one's McAllister's rich.
Yeah,
he's 90s.
They're
rich.
For
sure.
They're fucking rich. And so I was like, so I imagine my dad, who is a factory worker, who's probably already pissed that he spent, $80 to take our family of 5 to see this movie. And then he's watching the plight of a rich man who just can't buy the toy he wants. And I'm like, yeah, I bet my dad thought this movie sucked balls. Like, could my dad just stomach it down? Like, my dad weirdly liked Frasier, even though he was like a blue-collar factory guy, because he liked watching Frasier suck at things. But you're like, who's the intended audience? Like, if you're writing this script, you're like, who am I aiming this for? Cynical adults, it feels like, who hate Christmas. But our vehicle, if this movie was Sinbad battling the rich Arnold, it feels like this movie makes more sense for the intended demographic, which are people who are actually put upon by Christmas, not the rich piece of shit.
So I think what's really fascinating about this movie is, well, yes, I agree, like 100%. It is like this movie is for rich whites to watch and be like, oh wow, it could
Arnold
be worse.
Just forgot to send his secretary out to get a Turbo Man.
Like, really,
that's his plight in this movie.
Yeah, he could just blame his secretary for it and say, it's okay, like, we'll get another one. Like, I think the amount of emotion built into this toy arriving is so just kind of like toxic in a lot of ways. And I know that's like kind of the point of the movie is like, oh, like the amount of emotion and involvement that all parents have with this like genre of toy is wrong. And all like they should just be like thankful that they're all together for Christmas, that kind of thing. Like what we all are hoping for this kind of movie.
The kind of shit we tell our kids before we buy them a bunch of stupid shit and turn them into these little consumption monsters. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of thing you do before you turn your child into an absolute monster is you say,
and then every January you cry and you're like, why did we do this again?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did it before January this year. It is just like such a strange and voluminous turn to like constantly be about like, oh, but I'm going to chase a child through a jungle gym to get a bouncy ball that has a number on it.
Imagine seeing a giant Austrian man in that coat grabbing your fucking child because he wants a ball at a toy. And
all
again,
of it justified.
That store fucking blew it, right? That's not being prepared for your Turbo Man racket. Again, this movie fucking despises everyone. But what it's telling us is that through carnage and mayhem, you can get your way. Right? For sure. Like if you're that's why you put the hours in. So you can fuck your wife so good she'll never leave you. And you can beat up KB toy store employees. Right. But I was like, dude, Arnold, if you're that big, turn around and fucking steal one from some lesser dad.
Yeah. By the way, when they throw...
Don't go after the kid.
When they throw the bouncy balls in the air, like 50 of them pass. I'm like, Arnold is a world-class athlete.
No.
Telling me he can't catch a ball?
No. Arnold was a world-class bodybuilder, which on athletic skills is as low as you can be.
Catching a bouncy ball certainly has
world's
to be on
strongest
that
men
same
at least have to move and carry things like in competition. Bodybuilding, you just lift weights by yourself and then stand around in your underwear and people give you scores. There's very little athleticism involved in what they do.
Either way.
Proven by, the fifth. He got a fucking rubber facial and not one. Even with that giant gaping maw he had, one of them could have got caught in his mouth. Nothing.
Couldn't do it.
Nothing. And to be fair, I don't think any adult in any of these frames catches a ball.
No.
See, this is where my dad's skills would come in. The old training would kick in. An old first baseman Griff would have been snagging these motherfuckers. To be fair.
I just...
Maybe if he had played catch with Jamie, this wouldn't have happened. This is what... But here, this is the thing, the lack of subtlety that the movie's like, this kid is just pining for a gigantically buff, weird-chinned,
also, it's
cartoonish
a huge toy.
It's a huge toy.
It's like 4 feet tall.
Well, see, this was back when we didn't have toys that big. Like, I remember I used to think Battle Trolls were enormous. And if you look at them to today's kids' toys, they're not. Like, now it's very standard to get the 12-foot or 12-inch giant action figure that just kind of moves its limbs up and down.
Yeah, those like
that's a very standard superhero.
We're in this retro.
Everything.
We're in that retro period now where kids will like those like you're talking about the Titan series toys. Yeah,
I am an expert in toys. My kids' toy room is obscene because we went a little nuts when we had our first kid. We were very excited. It's obscene how many toys we have that are gigantic. But yeah, the lack of subtlety that because he's like, I just want this giant buff person to love me and stop clapping my mom up and selling mattresses. I just want him. Because the movie at the start is like, it's another thing where they think it's for our parents, where it's like, yeah, look at this little shit. He doesn't care about his dad. He just cares about Turbo Man. And you're like, yeah, because the buff red cartoon man is replacing him when he's not there. Right? If Phil Hartman was his dad, maybe he'd be collecting The Critic merchandise. Who knows? Like, you have to, fucking pine for the dad that you don't have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is all very strange. Like, it all just... The movie itself is just collectively an odd hodgepodge of events that you cannot timeline out.
It's literally like the lamest version of Scorsese's After Hours. Like, it's just Arnold bouncing around to uninteresting white people struggles.
Yeah, and I mean, not only that, they throw in a lot of things that are actually kind of terrifying.
You want to I want to debate one with you right now.
Which one?
So Jim Belushi's in the movie, crushes his cameo. I've actually always been a big fan of Jim Belushi. I think he's so underrated because his brother is like a god of comedy.
Yes.
He's had a good career, and he's fucking funny, dude. I like Jim Belushi. Neither here nor there. When they go to the toy factory, my kids always love that the Big Show's in it. Mm-hmm. And then he punches Vern Troyer across the room and goes, little buddy. They think that shit is so fucking funny. Neither here nor there. Like, here's a prime example. Arnold is a fucking dumbass who's blown it, right? We've already seen him accosting police officers. And later children. He's into even sketchier shit, right? Yeah, grabbing children like a pervert. Trying to beat up KB Toy Store employees. But he draws the line. He's like, I think you're a bunch of con men. Here's the thing. So what? You got a Spanish Turbo Man. Glue that shit together. Put it back in the fucking box. Wrap it up. And then tomorrow go, what? Santa must have delivered the wrong toy. Some boy in Mexico has your Turbo Man. And this thing, if that's not even the Santa gift, it's from you. You just say, oh, bummer, man. They gave me a defective one. Here, play with, Senior Turbo for 2 weeks. And then I'll buy you a new one when the Christmas craze has died down. We'll call the manufacturer. No, because he realizes he's a piece of shit and he just wants to fucking denigrate poors. Like, he sees people working and for a living, maybe, scooping up a couple cups of change on the side, as they say. But he sees working class people and he's just like, gross. It's like, keep the Turbo Man.
It is very against blue collar jobs in general. Every single person who
these people, has a normal. Because I don't even know, is this criminal what they're doing? They show the cops coming in to arrest them. And I'm like, as far as I can tell, they're just selling counterfeit toys.
So I think the idea, besides the counterfeit toys, I've always assumed when you have those giant pandas and shit, that they're putting drugs in there.
Oh, you think this is a whole drug operation?
Oh. Well, what the fuck do the cops care about counterfeit toys?
I mean, it's a big question of the movie. It's a big question of the movie for sure. And they just happen to have fake badges that Arnold's like, this is sloppy. Oh, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and he a giant screaming Austrian man. Yeah, that I've never heard of.
Holds that thing up way too long. I'm like, that's a toy.
Also, it feels like detectives should be like, hey, have you ever heard that fucking accent in the precinct or rookie school?
Have you ever heard that accent over a walkie? No.
Yeah, hey, if you're going to chew me out, like, I'm going to check in on this. Like, I'll make a call. Hey, has anyone ever heard a guy who sounds like this? Turbo Man. Like, that feels like a pretty memorable accent in Minnesota. Neither here nor there. Why not keep
like
the Spanish Turbo Man?
Investigation.
He's just so afraid of bringing in non-wealthy white stuff to his house.
It's like really...
He would rather steal from his rich white neighbor.
Your problem is solved.
The problem is solved, dude. And yes, your wife might get mad at you and give you an extra fucking 5 lashes or fucking ball tugs because you got a Spanish...
She might ignore the safe word like twice, and that's it.
Yeah. Booster, Booster. And she's like, no one likes Booster. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah. Whoosh. She's turning the clamps up a little. Give the people the Turbo Man. It's neither here nor there. I can't believe this movie expects us to believe that he just bench presses and humps his way out of like getting in trouble. Neither here nor there. I think this is like one of the most telling scenes of the movie. That kind of tells you where like a lot of the misses in this film are. Because everyone watching this movie knows, take the fucking Turbo Man. If you're willing to throw that kind of money around, just take it and then build the lie around that.
Take it and go home. Be done.
Yes. It's easier to explain that you got a poorly packaged Turbo Man because it's in an English language box.
Yeah.
Right? It's an English language Turbo Man box. So just say, manufacturers blew it. You're totally fine. You can go home, get some fucking reps in, still make the fucking fair or the parade.
Whatever the hell it is. Like,
but this is like it's a real fucking elitist attitude.
Yeah.
That is shocking in this movie.
There is just like a sense of like there are logical moments where the movie ends. And there's so many opportunities where you're just like, you could just stop this now. And then just like right turn, like nope, we're good. Yeah. We gotta keep. Like I think the problem, like again, why we say this is objectively not a good movie is because when movies have to literally fly in the face of logic to continue their plot, that's when things are like, I'm not really into that. Like,
it is bizarre because nothing in this movie besides like amazing cameos seems to work.
Yeah,
but it is an enjoyable experience, which is it's not like the baffling thing about it.
Yeah, I still enjoy watching the movie. I mean, even when we get to the like, and even when we get to like the third act, which is the weirdest way for this movie to possibly end. Like, I could not. If the first time I watched this movie, if you had told me that that's the ending of the movie, I would have said, not a fucking
no,
chance.
Because you're like, Arnold's transitioning away from action into comedy.
Yeah.
You're like, it makes sense that you go back, you go to the dance, you finish the dance with the one that brought you.
Yes and no. Like, okay, I'll give you this.
The moment at the start of the film when you saw Turbo Man and the kid pining for his father, that felt pretty written.
Okay. This is actually, I'll clarify. It's not that he ends up in the Turbo Man suit. It is the Turbo Man suit itself, which is absolute poppycock.
The municipal structure of Minneapolis has fucking killed a stuntman. And they're going to be doing a suit, and they're like, the only way to salvage this is to get another citizen we might murder and maim.
Not only that in America, for a parade, we have developed a prototype jetpack that a human being can wear, and that's not mass-produced all over the world.
It feels exactly dumb enough to be American. That, like, some guys like...
Great way to put it.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, fucking blow their minds with my Turbo Man pack. And then on TV, we'd just, as a nation, be like, oh, God, we're entering a horrifying new stage of our country. Because everyone has fucking jetpacks.
Oh, my God,
now.
There's going to be so many dead Rocketeers just flying around. Like, well, shit.
Like, this is going to be bad. Or maybe it's good. Maybe we'll be scraping off some of the fucking dregs of American society, and we won't need that anymore. It'll be fine.
That's a whole new job class. That's a whole new working, man. Just scraping idiots with jetpacks off walls.
Dude, Oh my God. Do you need a divorced uncle sprayed off the side of your house? Call Jimmy's Wash It Clean today.
Call Sinbad. He'll do the job.
Oh yeah. Sinbad still has to work after this movie's over, for sure.
Well, yeah, for sure. Especially making license plates.
That is does Sinbad go to jail?
Okay, so this is like the part,
because his actions almost specifically lead to that kid falling to his death in front of a whole town.
His actions and Arnold Schwarzenegger's actions are identical almost throughout the movie. Now, granted, like one is the bad guy, the other one's the good guy. Quote.
Only difference is that Sinbad literally handed a bomb to that fucking the world's worst cop.
Actually, Sinbad committed an actual crime, but not really. It's not him because he's just, I mean, he falsified it, but then it ended up actually being a bomb, which isn't great. Sinbad, however...
Yeah, it seems like the kind of world where, like, they'll let that, nuance help him out.
Of course. Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger do the identical things by putting on these costumes and doing these crazy things and, like, destroying government, destroying buildings, all kinds of stuff. Sinbad goes to jail with a Turbo Man doll, and Arnold Schwarzenegger gets to go home.
The state has a Turbo Man doll. That thing is evidence. That's not going under the tree in time for his son to open it. That's evidence.
No, that's evidence. But yeah, it is.
It's also one of those, like, what if the end of the movie just says Arnold is right because he's jacked and can beat up this other guy and wear a suit. Also, I was like, imagine the local scandal when he yells, Jamie. And all those parents, because that's the thing, these two guys are our focal point. We've seen hundreds of other parents in this movie scrambling for Turbo Man, right? What happens when they start realizing, like, wait, did he say that kid's name specifically? Wait, did that kid say on the hot mic, that's my fucking dad? This is collusion of the highest order. And then they're going to be trudging up and they're like, wait, was he beating up cops all day? Like, what the hell? Did he grab a child in the ball? Like... The next like week of this movie is fascinating. Probably more fascinating than the movie itself.
So yeah, there's the movie, and then there's the Law and Order episode that takes place the week after it happens.
Yeah, it's collusion
out of control.
Yeah, I think those parents are going to be fucking pissed that he gamed the system. Then there's going to be someone who comes out with the hot idea, and they're like, "Did he sabotage the first Turbo Man so that he could come be the new Turbo Man?" Where's the other actor, right? The other actor never made it. Did Arnold take him out?
Or was it Curtis Armstrong, the guy who played Booster, who's, again, just give me... Him and Phil Hartman just give all the best lines. Like, where the hell have you been? I've been sweating like a dog in a Chinese restaurant. I'm like, wow, that one didn't age.
Did not age. I mean, this is like real, like, upper middle class 90s white movie.
There is some hardcore upper middle class white
like
people.
That's one of those, I remember... It's like, I was like, this was like a wide release family affair at the theater Christmas movie.
Like, when the bomb goes off, Sinbad has probably his best line where he's like, "There's sick people in this world. Sick." I'm like, a bomb just went off. Yeah. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. And then they cut back to like the Three Stooges shot. I was like, you guys were just accosting a ponytailed man in his booth. I was like, there's a lot of like weird shit in this movie. The action set, like, how about the fact that the other actors jump out and Arnold's just like, ooh,
beating the shit out of them.
Not normal white bodies, right? Because they're fucking short, and he just starts whipping the shit. That's what I'm realizing now.
Dog shit out of them. Like,
this is real like crazy 90s whites that were just like mad. They're like, I feel things shifting. Yeah. Like, after Woodstock 99, we're not going to be the dominant force anymore.
This is like the Woodstock 99 of movies. There's just like, there's this
is Christmas Stock 99,
There's this Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit anger percolating throughout the film.
He knows that these actors. He knows that they're not working for Myron, the fucking mailman.
Right.
Right? And his first thought is, I'm going to start really fucking laying potatoes on him. Like, this is not like pro wrestling punches. Like, he's fucking actually hitting these people.
He throws one at all of them, and they all fall off the float. That is...
And then they do the, let's get him. And I was like, the voice, too. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I also got to say, the amount of ignorance required for people to hear, like, and you have the voice modulator thing. I'm like, it doesn't modulate your accent. Everyone can hear that there's an Austrian man in that suit.
Well, the only thing you can give Arnold is like, if I was one of those little henchmen, I'd be like, oh, this dude's fucking throwing Sparta kicks at us. I quit. Fuck these kids.
I'd walk off. I'm like,
yeah, fuck this parade. Fuck their Christmas cheer. I'm going to go hang out and walk by the float. I'm not walking up so this fucking 6'3" maniac can start front kicking my face. I quit. Fuck all your kids. Right? I think that's the thing. Here's the big question to end on. Oh, we have not fully sung all the praises of Phil Hartman. His fucking looks to the camera, like when he's like, carolers, and they fucking are out there dancing. He puts his arm around her, and she takes his arm off. That look he gives back to the camera, I was like, if you were just like to show someone what is comedic acting, that's like a perfect beat.
I would actually.
Phil Hartman is so fucking amazing.
Yeah, that one, and then the cookie bit when he's on the phone with Arnold, I fucking died laughing.
The amount of times that gets screamed in our household, put that cookie down. We say that all the time in my house. Because every Friday, me and the kids have treat day.
Right.
They do good at school. I get off work. We go somewhere that has Pokemon cards, now football, whatever the fuck, right? They get like a couple packs of cards. I get a coffee, and we all get like a dessert. And we've been doing this since they were little. Right. Every fucking time we go anywhere where there's cookies, one, if not all of us, just start yelling, put that cookie down. And everyone in the fucking coffee shop's like, is that from the 1990s hit Jingle All the Way? And you're like, yes, it is.
Yes,
My kindergarten son is obsessed with Jingle All the Way. That is a thing that I have done as a parent. But Phil Hartman, dude, him talking to all the neighbor ladies that want to get plowed.
I know, and all of them are wearing like those like all of them are wearing like sweaters my grandmother would have worn, which is fine, by the way. Like I love my grandmother.
Ooh, that's a thing for you?
No, not for me.
Kink unlocked.
I love my grandmother, but
sounds like it.
Like the only woman who's like, and then like Rita Wilson's the only one who's dressed like a woman in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's a thing. It's very.
I just say. I think Phil Hartman, because like I loved him on SNL. He was so fucking funny.
Oh, dude, he was.
It feels like he's just one of those like comedy giants who just before he could have the thing that took him to like the top of the tower for a couple years. Obviously, like we lost him early.
He just had
a horrifying moment.
He just had this amazing voice, like him as Troy McClure.
His timing,
on The Simpsons,
his face. I mean, perfect,
unbelievable.
He was like designed in a lab to be like a perfect comedic actor.
There's one he did, and it's not like one of his like famous ones, because again, he is a great. There's one he did on SNL. It's a really quick bit, but it was the steroid Olympics, where he's the guy doing the deadlift and his arms pull off. I don't know why. Ah! I fucking die laughing every single time.
He's so good, man.
He's just the best.
I think that's like the final mystery of the movie. As we end on, Jamie gives the doll up to Sinbad to become evidence.
Right.
And he goes, why do I need the Turbo Man doll? I have the real Turbo Man at home. By giving away the doll, he may have inadvertently saved his father from a huge PR scandal. Because he didn't keep the doll. The movie's trying to tie it together with this nice lesson, right? That if you are just there, you know, through chicanery and crimes, and you can be the everything will work out for you, right?
Yeah,
everything will work out if you're a rich upperclassman.
30% less shitty on Christmas Eve.
Here's the thing: the movie is so fucking flawed, right? They're like, if you just lift weights, you can fuck your wife, right? If you somehow beat people up and get into the parade, so you can be the Turbo Man, so your kid can, like a kid in Willy Wonka, can get something that will separate them from the other rich white kids. All right, fine.
Right.
The movie is so devoid of introspection. Do you remember what the last shot of this movie is?
I do.
It's Arnold being carried away from his family. He has to stop hugging his family so they can put him on their shoulders and carry him away. As he cheers to the crowd, his back literally turned on his family. I did it. I'm the best. And I was like, that is the fucking wildest last shot. I think of any Christmas movie except for It's a Wonderful Life, where Jimmy Stewart is now crying at the fucking infinite hellscape that he has been made aware of.
That is actually not the final shot of the film, by the way. I will say this. The movie does do a good job.
That's the last scene of the movie, is him being carried away from his family.
The last scene of the movie is the post-credits scene.
Oh, don't be one of those little Marvel boys. I didn't even know there was a post-credit scene. I've never.
Yeah, there's a post-credit scene. So, and again, it actually does go to our point, which is helpful. Is there's so it's Arnold puts the star on top of the tree.
Right.
Frivolity is had for the family, and Rita Wilson comes in close. She's like, and you think she's about to say the safe word, but instead, what she says is, like, I saw how much effort and what you did to get Jamie that Turbo Man doll today. I just wonder what you got me for Christmas. And it's like a really fast push in on Arnold going, oh, yeah, you've seen it, I know.
Right.
But
we all know what she's getting for Christmas.
We all know what she's getting.
What's choked.
Great is
she's getting choked for Christmas.
Yeah, she's going to have some weird choke sex. That's what she's having for Christmas.
Yeah. We all know what's happening.
But it does do a good job of like, oh, cool. So he's still a piece of shit. Like, even though he did all this stuff
as he
today,
was out at every like he literally goes to the children's museum to try to buy a Turbo Man.
Yeah. Even though he's pure
it
garbage.
never dawns on him to buy his wife a present.
Never dawns on him to buy his wife.
Because
again,
he just puts a bow on the fucking massive hog and he's like, there you go. Because that's what this movie's telling us.
That's it.
Just be big-dicked and rich and ripped, and it's all going to kind of fall in place for you.
It's all going to work out for you.
You're going to be okay.
If you're a big-dicked, ripped guy who sells mattresses in Minneapolis, you'll be fine.
Like, just if I had told anyone, I was like, hey, is a mattress salesman a glorious job? Like, could you feel like you'd get a lot of adulation? You'd say no.
Right. Is that a sell? Yeah.
But in this movie, it is. Because he's rich and bangs, and that's it. So it is this bizarre. It is. It's kind of, the Christmas stock 99 is a good comparison.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a real lensing issue that is not aged properly.
It's got a real Limp Bizkit break stuff energy, that's for sure.
It does. Yeah, break stuff because other people will clean it up and you'll be fine. It's not your stuff. It's not your stuff.
You're not going to
He breaks into his neighbor's house and nothing's going to happen because his neighbor made a move on his wife.
We didn't even talk about the fact that he punched a reindeer in the face.
And then gave it beer.
And then
so it's concussed and shit-faced in his backyard.
Is there anything good this guy does an entire movie? No.
No, he's kind of a huge piece of shit.
He's just a terrible person the whole way around.
He's just not a good dude.
No.
It's bizarre because, again, it's a Christmas movie for people that hate Christmas, but also
hate their
because
kids,
he's a rich white guy. It's like not aimed at the right core of us that hate Christmas because of all the money we have to spend that we don't have and this and that.
Yeah.
So it's a bizarre movie that kind of misses constantly.
It's how it's supposed to. I think it's what it's supposed to be about and just misses the whole time.
It just misses. But that's the thing is, like, Arnold is so captivating to watch. Sinbad is doing, like, Sinbad stuff.
Sinbad's doing Sinbad.
It's not as good as other Sinbad joints.
Right.
It's not
like
as good as other
Kid
Sinbad movies for
or
sure.
Shazam.
Yeah, that movie that exists. No, it's not as good as his other stuff to me. It's not as good as his stand-up. Yeah, Arnold's always captivating. Phil Hartman rules. Belushi rules. It's just got like enough stuff that is kind of awesome mixed into this fucking just cadre of bad choices galore.
Yeah.
And then just this baffling like half a fucking Power Rangers ending.
It's a strange thing. I've never really understood how Christmas movies of the modern era catch, because like I really don't think when they come out, like I think maybe Elf might be the only Christmas movie in the last like 20
Elf
years.
was huge. Krampus, we watch Krampus every year.
Krampus, but like Elf to me is a great example of like the only one that's really come out in the last like 20 years that has hit in a way that like, oh wow, it's like an instant classic. Like the rest,
right?
Like most Christmas movies really have to be appreciated
because time. Elf is about the unabashed love of Christmas.
Correct.
And so you hit those like Disney adult people that's like, it's perfectly awesome to be a non-functioning child in society. But as long as you like really are goofy as shit, Elf is for them and they love it.
Well, but I mean, I'm serious though. Like it is hard to make, it is a hard thing to make like a Christmas classic or a Christmas movie, I think, in the modern era because we are just so inundated with stuff and inundated with materials and stuff like that. Like movies that are like for me, for my family, for Christmas classics, like the one that we want to watch every year. Like my father has two movies that he wants to watch every year, which is It's a Wonderful Life and the Alistair Sim version of Christmas Carol.
Yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol, It's a Wonderful Life, The Grinch. Like, we watch all the classics.
Muppet Christmas Carol and Grinch. The one that, like, is weirdly, like, because everybody has the one that's Christmas adjacent, but it just takes place at Christmas a lot of the time. Like, for my family, it's Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, that one's fucking funny.
Which is great. Like, but that also wasn't a huge hit when it came out. It took like I saw that movie in theaters when it came out. I
think to be a real Christmas classic, you have to capture that. I can't even say words. I'm a fucking idiot too. Thanks for nothing, okay. Dad. I'll just do that to my dad. He's out there in the world not having parented me ever, and he's just like, fucking loser. I was right to leave him. Neither here nor there. Wow. That got dark. See, that's why I'm tired of dark Christmas. I'm at the age now I used to love dark, cynical Christmas. But again, you have to be able to watch it with your family and feel moved by the magic of the season. And if you're still one of those people that like can't even stop being fucking self-loathing and mad for like a week, to be like, you know what? I like things look better with Christmas lights on them. Like a layer of snow makes the world prettier. Right? Like, I love the idea of giving a gift to someone and telling them that I like them. Thank you for being in my life. If you can't shut down your cynicism for even that small window, then yeah, maybe you're more of a Jingle All the Way person. I think it's funny because it's so fucking weird. But again, I think to be a real Christmas classic like Elf, which is also kind of a weird story.
It is.
There is strange. Just this, it so loves the season of Christmas, and it loves the coming together. That's the thing, the coming together.
The love of Christmas and like the true spirit of Christmas story has to outweigh the cynicism of the modern era. And that's like that's what Elf can do. Jingle All the Way.
Or it has to be gnarly like Rare Exports or Krampus, where there's like still a character who believes in the good Christmas, and you violated it. Like in this movie, there's no one who's making a fair deal with Christmas. Because the kid's like, I'm mad at Dad for not coming to my thing. And then within 2 minutes of fucking stonewalling him, he's like, but if you drop some dollars, you're back in. And it's like, that's bullshit. Even the kid is not making like a good-natured argument about why Christmas matters. Someone's got to.
I agree.
But in our house, this is a Christmas classic. We watch it a shocking amount. My kids love Jingle All the Way. I hope that you enjoyed our episode on Jingle All the Way. A bizarre, odd Christmas movie. Not a Christmas horror movie, which I think we've kind of been doing those for the last couple. A real kind of Christmas movie.
Sort of.
Yeah. It might have some less than appropriate wrapping paper. And it's definitely not the gift you want, but you're like, it is kind of cozy.
True.
It's like the ugliest Christmas sweater. And then there's just that little Phil Hartman face, and you're like, I love it. No, it's an interesting series of decisions. That's it, guys. All the listeners. Sorry, I'm coughing my fucking brains out. We would like to, as always, take this end of the year time. It's not our last episode of the year. That'll be Memories of Murder. But we want to take the time and wish you and all of yours the happiest holidays over the next week. Take some time, love yourself, love other people around you. We appreciate that you guys have any time to spend with us. It means the world to us. Thank you for the gift of your time, attention, helping us grow this show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happiest of holidays to all of you.
I do appreciate everything we get from you guys, and I appreciate everything about you all. You are wonderful,
that's right.
And you are the reason for the season. There you go.
Indeed. Guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. We have 2 more episodes, right? A Patreon exclusive, the assassination of Jesse James by some unwashed whites, and Memories of Murder. We did get yelled at for being too woke. So
yeah, we are apparently too woke.
Apparently we're too woke. Deal with it. Deal with it, you little punk ass, whoever said that. Neither here nor there.
Griff, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Dandino. Merry Christmas.